So I want to go over the long range planner here. So if you notice at the top, it says first grade. If you have a second grade child, you're going to scroll all the way down to the green section, which is second grade. The long range planner is essentially the same for both first and second grade, except for some of the page numbers might be different for their subjects. So just for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be going through the first grade long range planner, but again, it's the same whether or not you have a first or second grader. So the first column here you see is the week. This is just telling you the date. The date that is on the week section is the Monday of school, but week 1, this is just that first week of school. If you notice on week 3, which starts on 9/4, 9/4 is actually Labor Day, so we don't have school, but it is a 4-day week. So just be mindful of that, because just because we don't have school on that week does not necessarily mean that they don't still have assignments to complete. So for this week of Labor Day, I have written out 4 lessons instead of 5, which is typical for the school week. So that's the week section. The notes are just different kinds of things that might be going on, such as, shorter school weeks, or if we have maybe like a school event of some kind. If there's anything in this section that you're not sure about, please feel free to email or text me to ask questions, but essentially this is just side notes of what's going on that week. So for instance, week 1, that's the first day of school. On the 11th week, on 10:30 is Halloween Eve, so we're doing book character dress up day and possibly a school lunch. So things like that, I will be notifying you as the times come closer, but it's kind of just a written overview of what's going on during the school year. Then we've got phonics. So for second grade, it'll say English, but for phonics, it says lessons 1 through 5 for this week. So those are the lessons that are to be completed. It's essentially so you can go down to whatever week you're on, and then you're able to see, okay, to what point are they supposed to have completed their phonics. Handwriting is only taken home on 4-day school weeks. So this is actually something that stays in the classroom, their handwriting book. But on the weeks that we don't have class on Mondays, I will be sending home their handwriting books so that they can complete it. So there are only a few throughout the school year that you'll see actual page numbers for handwriting to be completed at home. Again, these are lessons that are all completed at home. Curriculum is mostly done at home. Mondays are reserved for more focused on, unit studies and skills practices, things like that. So the actual curriculum workbooks will be done at home. And even though it is 5 lessons per week, and technically you only have the 4 days since they won't be working on curriculum on Monday, I'm sure you've seen just from the books that you have ordered, there's not a whole lot. So completing these 5 lessons, so it may sound like you need to do 1 lesson per day, split it up however you'd like. You can complete all of this curriculum within 3 days of the rest of the week, so you only have a 4-day school week for your child. It's completely up to you how you do that, as long as they're completing those lessons before they come back to school the following week. That's to ensure that if I'm covering a topic, they know what we're talking about and they're not behind on their curriculum, because if they are a unit or 2 behind, they're not going to really know what's going on in the classroom, and it eats up time of trying to explain them, catching them up on the what we're studying. So just make sure that you are on top of completing that curriculum. On to writing. Writing is an informal curriculum that I have created. So these are just their homework for that week. If you notice, the first 3 weeks of school, they're not starting their writing, but then they'll jump in. And so we've got feelings journal flyer. Whenever we start a new form of writing that they will complete in their primary journals that I provide, I will send home a flyer to explain how to complete that writing assignment. And here you'll see that they need to complete 1 feelings journal. I will be checking that in class. So those journals will be going home so that they can complete their work at home, but they do need to be returned on Monday so that I can look through them. So this first section of writing, you'll see we're working on feelings journal. So and then another feelings journal entry, that sort of thing, so they can get that practice outside of Mondays. Then we'll move on to different forms of writing, so informative writing and so on and so forth. So it'll tell you how many of each that they need to complete at home. That's for writing. Again, it's an informal curriculum, so there's no book or anything for that. But of course, you're always welcome to supplement if you want to add in any other kind of writing. You can use that primary journal for them to complete other work as well. Maybe just leave a note on there just saying, hey, we were just working on this. This isn't the assignment you assigned, that kind of thing. And just communicate with me if you can. Math, again, here are different lessons that are completed. One thing to note is that the curriculum it's typically on a 180-day school year, and we don't have 180 days, so they're not actually going to be completing all of their math curriculum. I'm going to scroll to the last week of school here. On week 35, you'll see that they finished through lesson 169. So they won't be totally completing their books with this schedule. You're welcome to go ahead if things are just a little bit easier. But I always recommend that you can always work with them on math or whatever curriculum. If there's any left over after we finish school, continue it. You can keep going until you're done if you'd like. If you don't, though, it's not going to be detrimental as they go into their next grade. They'll be just fine without it, but you will notice that there are more lessons available. So, of course, you can do what you'd like with those. So that's math. And then for reading, again, this is not a formal curriculum. So what I do, because first and second grade, it is very vital that they are reading at home. So I will be sending home a reading log, and they are to read 15 minutes a day. You'll write down what they read, and you'll sign it, verifying that they did read. This does not have to be just reading. It can also be like reading activities, flashcards, or anything like that. If you want to be creative there, I just require 15 minutes a day and signed in your reading log, because it is just so vital that they're reading every single day. I encourage them to read aloud in books that they are able to read. An easy rule is a 5-finger rule. If they're reading a page and there are 5 times that they are not able to pronounce a word, it's too hard. So try to find something that's not too challenging for them, but also not too easy. If they're reading it so easily without a problem at all, we want them to have that middle ground of not too easy, but not too hard. So just keep that in mind. But I do really, really highly recommend completing those reading logs. Makes a huge difference. And lastly, history curriculum. So you'll notice we actually don't have science on here. That's because science is entirely completed in the classroom. It is not a formal thing, but we are doing experiments each week, just getting them excited about science, because technically for first and second grade, it's not totally required for them to be doing formal curriculum for history or science, but it's important that they do it. So for science, we'll be having fun activities in the classroom where we do different types of experiments and then going over the science behind them, that sort of thing. But there's nothing for you to do at home. Of course, you're always welcome to supplement, but we don't have anything in the long-range planner because it's not required at home. History, however, I will be going over history curriculum separately in a different video that you'll see linked in the Google Slides. But here we've got just those different U.S. figures that they're going to be studying through their history curriculum. So each week it tells you kind of what we're doing with starting learning about the Wright brothers, and then Amelia Earhart and that sort of thing, and then the projects, that sort of thing. Just keep in mind these dates because it goes in line with the history curriculum you're provided through the Google slide. So just make sure that you're staying on top of these ones and the class presentation so that your child is prepared for those presentations in class that we have every month or so. So this is the long range planner. Again, it's simply just for your use so that you know where you should be so that your child is on track. It makes it a little bit easier. It can be a little daunting and overwhelming at first, but you'll get the hang of it really quickly. For me, I like to, once we've completed a week, I like to darken it just so that I know, okay, we've done that. Or maybe like you haven't finished the phonics, so the phonics section is still not completed. However you want to organize it, you'll have your own copy. So you're welcome to do whatever you'd like with it. But again, if you are first grade, if your child is in first grade, please make sure you're looking at the first grade section. If it's second grade section. I also have included the breaks that we have and when we start up again. So I hope that's helpful. If you have any more questions about it, I am more than willing to meet with you, chat with you about it on Zoom or over the phone or in person. So just let me know if you have any more questions, but that's the long range planner.